when you have a question like this, so we have 2 bracket 3x minus 4. What do brackets mean in math? You're thinking of BEDMAS. You're saying that's the first thing you have to do, but I can't. If I have a 3x and I want to take away 4, can you take 4 away from 3x if you don't know what x is? We can't simplify that. You cannot do anything inside the bracket. Okay? Brackets mean multiplication. Like if you had something that looked like this, 2 bracket 3, what does that mean? That means 2 times 3. What's 2 times 3? That would be simplified to 6. So here we have a 2, and I need to multiply it by everything inside the bracket. So this means 2 times 3x, and I have to take 2 and multiply it by what? Positive or negative? You have to include the sign, okay? So we're going to do this together. So the first step is 2 times 3x. What's 2 times 3? 6. And we have an x, so it would be 6x. Good. Then we have 2 distribute. This is called distributive law. You need to distribute the number outside the bracket over everything inside the bracket. So then we have 2 times, what was it again? Negative 4. What's a positive times a negative? And then we have 2 times 4 is 8. Look here, please. This is it. This is the answer. That's all you have to do. How do I know I'm finished? Look at your terms. We have a 6x and we have a negative 8. Can I take 8 away from 6x? No, they're not like terms. You cannot add or subtract terms that are not alike. Okay, so I want you to copy this example. And as a quick little review, because we are dealing with positive and negatives, if I'm multiplying a negative times a negative, what's the answer? A positive times a positive. And a negative times a positive. Positive times a negative. Good. Okay, now this one, what is the number, what is the term outside of the bracket? Positive or negative 3? That means we're taking negative 3 and we're multiplying it by every term inside the bracket. So I'm going to do negative 3 times x first. What's a negative 3 times x? How do I write that? Negative 3x, good. Now raise your hand. Tell me what's the next thing I multiply together. Yep. Negative 3 times negative 3. Excellent. Don't forget, if there's a negative sign here, it means we're multiplying it by negative 3. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. And what's 3 times 3? 9. That's it. That's the answer. The first step, the first thing we want to do is take the number outside the bracket, multiply it by the first term inside the bracket. So we do 6 times 3 is 18, and then we have the n. So 6 times 3n is 18n. Yeah, good. 6 times positive 4. Excellent. What's this positive times a positive? Positive. And then we have 6 times 4 is
24.
Good. That's it. That's the answer. We're done. Good. Negative 3 times positive 4b is what? Negative 12. Good. Next. Good. Negative 3 times a negative. So a negative times a negative is a positive. And it's 3 times 7. Some people get confused and they subtract this. It's a multiplication. So the final answer is negative 12b plus 21. In this question we have x, right? It's just a variable, times x. Now, do you remember from last chapter, what is the exponent here if there's no exponent? What number can we put? 1, okay? So this actually says, I'm going to write it here, x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 1. When you're multiplying powers, what do you do with the exponents? What do I do with these two numbers? 1 plus 1. Good. So this becomes x to the power of 2. And think about it. We have x times x. I'm multiplying x twice. So that would be x squared, right? X to the power of 2. That's the first part. What's the second part? Raise your hand, please. What's the second part? Good. We take x, again, this is the number outside the bracket, the term outside the bracket, and we multiply it by the next term inside the bracket. X times 6, positive 6, we would write that as positive 6x, okay? We wouldn't write it as x6. When you're multiplying a variable and a number, you write the number and then the variable. This means 6 times x or x times 6. It's the same thing. So this is the answer. X times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. That's it. Okay? Okay, so we have 5w. What am I multiplying that by? 4w. First thing you want to do is you want to multiply. This is called the coefficient. It's the number in front of the variable. So you're going to multiply the numerical part first. What's 5 times 4?
20.
Okay. Now what do you think we multiplied together next?
W times W.
W times W. What's W times W? W to the power of 2 or W squared. Good. So that's the first part. We did 5W times 4W, and we got 20W squared. Now what do we multiply together? Yes, JC? 5W times. Okay, good. What's a positive times a negative? Negative. And then it's 5 times 3 is 15, and then we have our W because W is not getting multiplied by another variable, so it's just W. And are we done? Is that the answer?
Yeah.
Yes.